Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 9 p.m. Pacific Time. It is Film Geek Primer Live. Huzzah, huzzah. This week we're going to be doing our autumnal fall rest of the year preview, since fall kind of falls throughout the rest of the year officially. So we're going to be giving you our most anticipated movies, I guess, of the fall season. I'm your host, John Santo, and with me today is Dub. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming. Warren is also with us in his Tuesday night lounging.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's time. And not with us is Tremendo and Shu. Shu is in. We usually could take this time to tell tales of Shu's degenerate lifestyle, but the laws of nature have kept Shu from being on this week. It has incredible record floods in Phoenix and Las Vegas and Tucson or some crazy thing like that. It's just, he's building an ark and putting two hookers by two hookers on it.
Twice.
Yeah, and so he will be starting his own paradise. Yeah, basically, yeah. He'll be starting his floating brothel, just like the old days on Mississippi.
Sounds like an awesome
Captain
idea.
in the brothel of tomorrow.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yes. Shoe captain in the brothel of tomorrow.
Get to work on that Photoshop.
Yeah.
It was good for like the first
watching.
10 minutes, but then got kind of boring.
Yeah, exactly. After the first, you never would have thought a brothel would have been dull after 10 minutes,
It was really the most boring brothel I'd ever been to.
It was exciting for 10 minutes, and then I fell asleep.
Exactly. I
Just
just
like Sky Captain in the world of tomorrow.
I had a cigarette, made a sandwich, and went to bed. So anyway, I guess we'll just kind of go right into it. So September's kind of. So how did we want to do this? Because I was going to do a top 5 kind of scenario. How did you guys rate your stuff, or how did you kind of collect your examples here?
Well, I broke mine down by month.
Okay.
So I've got, sort of depending on how we want to do it, I've got 3 to 5 movies per month that pique my interest for one reason or another.
Okay. Well, and Warren, how about you? How did you do yours?
I just kind of wrote down a bunch of movies. I think they're sort of out of order by month, so they're not even in the order that I really want to see them. And,
so chaos. You brought chaos to the party.
I think that you got to give it a little chaos, a little gasoline on the fire.
That's right.
No,
some people just want to watch the cinema burn.
I just want to watch the movies burn. Actually, no, burn is not on my list.
Yeah. That's in the spring, I believe. So there's still time. Okay, I'll tell you what then. Let's just screw it, since there's only 3 of us here. I mean, we've got plenty of time to just go through the stuff that we want to go through. So I'll tell you what. So Dub, go ahead, start us off with September. Go ahead and give us one of your titles there.
So the number 1 on my list for September, I think, is the Zero Theorem, which is the new Terry Gilliam movie with Christoph Waltz.
Sure, which I've seen.
You've seen the Zero Theorem?
Yeah, it's been on video on demand for a few weeks now.
Oh, well, I hope it's good.
It's not bad. It's not. It's
the wind out of its sails.
I know. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's.
Well, I guess technically it is September.
It is September, but I saw it in August. It was on demand in August.
Even more wind out of its sails.
I know. Yes.
Hold on, I got the next one on my list here. Is Shut the Fuck Up.
All right, well,
That's the next thing I want to see.
I won't give you my I won't give you my pocket review of it. That's okay.
All right. Have you seen Pride?
No, as a matter of fact, what is Pride?
Pride is the true story. It's a British movie. It feels like it could have that Full Monty or what's the other one I'm blanking on now? But or like a Billy Elliot.
Gotcha.
It's a group of coal miners that strike in 1985 based on a true story against Margaret Thatcher, and that's
all you need.
That's right. Well, no. Here's where it gets fabulous: is they get support from
right, and it's Dominic
the LGBT community.
Right. Yeah.
And they have to put on a show to support striking 80s British coal miners. Like, that just sounds so awesome to me. I don't know. I gotta think.
Sounds like a cliche.
What can I say? Yeah.
Yeah, no, actually, I've seen the trailer for that. Now that you say that, it actually looks highly entertaining.
Yeah.
And Dominic West plays one of the gay men that comes up to strike with him. And and it's kind of like the local 182 coal miners / homosexual equal rights union.
Right. Right. Two great tastes that taste great together.
Yeah. So it's great because it's basically about it's about learning to accept is the really kind of the general theme of the picture is what the trailer kind of spells out.
That's what I liked about it, and that's why it reminded me a lot of the Full Monty is this idea of or even Billy Elliot. This idea of an environment or a town or a society of any sorts. I mean, it could be the Footloose town, any kind of society where this disruptive force comes in and makes a change for good. It always makes for an entertaining movie.
Oh, and it looks like Shu is watching us.
Yeah, I believe he reached out to me, Shu. If you're watching, he reached out to me to invite you in. I
can do that. So,
so we can invite you in now.
Invite you in. You heard Gabe wasn't going to be on, and you rushed home. So no, Pride. It's an excellent choice actually, and it's like part of a like a subset of British movies because like Calendar Girls,
right. It's becoming
Kinky Boots. It's like its own subgenre.
Yes, of course.
And the funny thing is it's a great formula because it always works. I mean, it's one of those Frosted Flakes. You know exactly what you're going to get. But it's really tasty. Somebody made it home. Look at him. He's at home and everything.
Oh, are you safe? Is it safe?
With all this water, are you crazy? I had a hard time. You guys were far more entertaining on watching the YouTube feed live, and I'm sure it's already been commented on. But I figured I was in the wrong show when I was looking at Santo's shirt.
Yeah, I know. I'm dressing for success now.
Apparently, you are. Whereas I am not.
So you tied together a couple dead hookers and floated home.
Yeah. Whatever you can make a rap out of.
Well paid.
Didn't they cover that in the Coen Brothers movie?
Something like that, yeah. Okay, now that Shu's here, somebody likes. Let me see if I can catch up. I know I missed a couple minutes. Somebody wants to see some movie called Shut the Fuck Up. Yes.
And somebody likes the LGBT community. And there was something else that you had seen. Zero Theorem by what's his name? Okay, I'm caught up.
You caught up. That's some work.
That was it.
No, and all of that by Dub. So Dub wants to see a Terry Gilliam film about the LGBT community called Shut the Fuck Up.
Fantastic.
His first choice this fall.
You can't tell me you wouldn't see that.
I might. No. No. If it's, I would totally check it out. But anyways, yeah, Pride. I agree with you on that one. Actually, that's going to be a nice little small flick to check out.
What was the name of the British movie about the woman who sells pot?
Oh God! And it was with Craig Ferguson, and we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a solid movie. It was sort of the predecessor to Weeds. I felt like when Weeds came out, or maybe they came out around the same time.
It was like Imelda. It wasn't Imelda Staunton, but it was somebody like that.
Yeah, but it's another one of those ideas. This sense of liberalism coming to these incredibly repressed
areas. Yeah.
So that one's on my short list.
Yeah. Although now. Go. Sorry. Continue.
For September, well, I've got two more for September. The Two Faces of January.
Okay. Please.
Which is the new, based on the Highsmith novel, and it sounds like it's like a couple traveling.
It's the Viggo Mortensen, Kristen.
Yeah, Viggo Mortensen for sure, and it's got one of those Who's Conning Who vibes to it.
Right.
And I really liked. It's really stuck with me over the years. The talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah, Ripley's great.
And I'm curious if I like her storytelling oeuvre, like the way she works, or if I just happen to like that particular movie.
Well, you are a big fan of Strangers on a Train.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yes, and I'm trying to think. There's another one of hers that. Oh, you've probably never seen Purple Noon or Knife in the Water, even though Knife in the Water isn't really, but it is. But Purple Noon is also another kind of talented Mr. Ripley flick.
Well, apparently there's other Ripley stories as well.
There was
if I wanted hunting them down.
Yeah, there was one with John Malkovich that was made a few years ago called Ripley's Game that I never watched.
But I don't like the idea of a Malkovich Ripley. I like, and it doesn't have to be Damon, but I liked a young Ripley. I like the idea of a character budding. I don't know. Anyway, so that's on my list. I'm curious to see. I can't remember who's directing that one.
It's the guy who wrote Drive, whose name I can't.
It was someone interesting.
Yeah, and it's his directorial debut. It's been like his passion project for years. And it's like something Amidi Hassan or something like that. I feel horrible because I sound completely racist right now, not knowing his name. But yes, but I know he's been trying to get made for years and years and years. I believe it didn't play at Telluride or at Toronto. It's coming out relatively soon, of course. Well, September. And is it? Did you notice? Is it on demand or theatrical? Did you happen to catch that?
I did not.
Yeah, we should actually start tagging that kind of thing because I think that's actually kind of it's actually incredibly important, especially since a lot of the smaller films that we end up talking about don't do major releases anymore, and a lot of times they dump them straight. They move a lot of the stuff straight to. I don't want to say dump because dump's actually a really ugly word to say because actually I really approve of the video on demand model for a lot of these smaller films because that's how I ended up watching Blue Ruin. And Venus and Fur, and some other movies like that, where it was kind of like, I'm feeling too lazy to go out to the movie theater, but I really want to watch something, and having those around to be able to see just was a really great thing. And you can find some fabulous discoveries through VOD now. There's it's no longer this is just it's not the direct to video thing that we grew up with, where it was like anything that went straight to video was always your was the shoe catalog. All of his favorite movies, I believe. The Rothrocks.
Dude, Shoe's right there. He's right
there.
there.
Sorry. Well, no.
He views any commentary towards Cynthia Rothrock as complimentary.
Well, no, but for years, Shoe hosted Bad Movie Night, so a lot of that stuff probably was direct-to-video stuff, wasn't it, Shoe?
Absolutely, it was. Yes.
Yeah. So.
And I'm sorry. Did you show this on Good Video Night?
Okay.
Because I think just conceptually,
I'm just saying that
quality.
I'm offended because that's redundant.
Yeah.
If you're making fun of Cynthia Rothrock, if this continues, I'm going to pull out the movie that I was going to make us watch. I'm going to make Flip and Dub watch a Cynthia Rothrock film. And then we're going to talk about that one for a while. So you be careful.
Do it.
You're
I feel like we need some bad movies. I feel like bad movies.
Sacred ground right now.
I can take it.
I watched a lot of
Cynthia Rothrock movies. I bailed out after 10 minutes of King Solomon's Mines doesn't have a low threshold for terrible movies.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not bashing Shu for his love of bad movies. I actually think No, I'm not. There's something there's something genuine in the way you appreciate bad cinema. I mean, because you actually analyze it, which I find most people wouldn't take the time of day to even give it a second thought, and you are actually willing to kind of look at something and pull out what is good from some of this stuff.
Yes, generally about 87 minutes of mockable entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, to a large degree, what watching movies, it's one of the many things that movie viewing should be about. There's an entertainment factor there, and I get entertainment out of plenty of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, whatever smart mouth remarks I may say towards Mr. Schuster, he recontextualized Looker for me in a post-Miranda world. Wow. It really changes the entire weight of the film. And that's a real and true thing he's given me, and I can't sell that short. So I'll
you know what?
I'll always be a little bit indebted for that.
It's one thing, but clearly it's one great thing. So I'm glad that it stuck with you. It's about quality over quantity.
Right. It's like if I said, well, yeah, he punches me in the face a lot, but he saved my life once. And for that, I'm forever grateful.
So.
That's a perfect metaphor, by the way.
Yeah, totally, completely. So, Shu, we had our conversation back and forth about your top 5, and since we no longer are doing a top 5, we're just kind of laying stuff out.
Sweet.
Your number 5, number 4, number 2, and number 1 are the same movie.
Well, let me, if you don't mind,
and it's coming out in September.
If you'll give me about 35 seconds, I figure I can break it down. Number 5 on the list, because you have to go backward, before you have the big reveal at number 1.
Sure.
Number 5 is The Equalizer.
Okay.
Number 4 is The Equalizer.
Okay.
Number 3 is some other piece of shit that happens to be released in the fall.
Okay.
Number 2 is The Equalizer.
Okay.
And number 1 is Denzel Washington starring in The Equalizer.
Now,
I did not see that coming.
No, I know, it's a total shocker, right? Now, give us a little background. For those who don't know, Shu is a consummate lover of mostly 70s, early 80s crime shows / detective shows.
That's pretty accurate.
Because you were like a huge Rockford fan, a huge Columbo fan.
Huge Columbo fan.
And both of those are fantastic shows.
I would be willing to bet I'm the only guy in this room right now, well, physically in this room because I'm the only person in my room, period, at the moment. But maybe the other group here who was also a big Ellery Queen fan.
Right.
Yeah, big Ellery Queen fan.
So,
but The Equalizer was Edward Woodward. Come on.
I love The
Well,
Equalizer.
I knew it was Edward Woodward.
See, there you are. And it's one of those shows that has some great cameos too. There's some episode that I remember with Kevin Spacey. I think probably before he was called Kevin Spacey, as some bad guy thug who just gets thrown off the balcony by Edward Woodward. And it's that kind of stuff that just makes the whole thing.
Starring Kevanovich, Space
Come on, anybody who becomes the drifting loner at the end of a show, I'm all hooked. I'm in. And it had that neat little theme song too that kind of stuck in my head, although I can't pull it out at the moment.
There was the shot of the woman in the elevator, like in the opening credits, and then like her eyes like darting back and forth, and then the guy like. Yeah, I love The Equalizer. Equalizer is on my list too.
Really? Well, that's because unlike your brother, you have a great list and an excellent taste in cinema.
That's the only way our parents can tell us apart. Quality of his list.
Which one has shitty taste in movies?
the one who's not looking forward to The Equalizer and talks about some deep movie with intricate themes, or the guy who respects Cynthia Rothrock.
We find ourselves
the answer to this.
We find ourselves in situations all the time where they have to shoot one of us. No, shoot him! And then they test us by saying, "Hey, who wants to go see The Equalizer?" And then I'm like, "Oh, me." And
yeah, it's surprising how many times we fight with clones of ourselves, and our parents.
It happens way too much. It happens probably, I guess, more than most people.
You know, we've never really talked about it till now. That does happen an awful lot, doesn't it?
It is a surprising amount of fights, and one of us ends up getting shot by our parents because we look too much alike.
We need to take this conversation offline. This is
primer. At the very least, your parents at least are lousy games.
Or are
I don't know. I've seen his mom throw a sponge and hit a rat from 50 feet.
Wow!
I don't call Aaron a rat.
That would be anti-Semitic. I can't do that. Thank you.
Whoa.
Thank you.
Too soon.
If the Jew fits.
Years, dude.
Sorry. Sorry. Go ahead, Warren.
I was just gonna say, just jumping in on Shoot because The Equalizer is also on my list, and because of the TV show, and 2 to see Denzel Washington and Antoine Fuqua, together again after Training Day, I just think it's going to be really good. It's going to be my kind of movie.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, if it equals Man on Fire levels, I'll be happy.
Right.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, Man on Fire was good.
Yeah, Man on Fire is a very solid flick, I think.
Well, it's a different director, but
Dakota Fanning thinks Man on Fire is the greatest film ever.
Oh, I would hope Dakota Fanning would think that Man on Fire is the greatest film ever. No, different film, but it's that same Denzel Washington as professional, going out and fucking up bad guys type of movie, type of level type of film. Okay, so
I have never seen a Cynthia Rothrock movie.
Okay. Well,
just had to go through.
What?
We'll fix that one.
What the hell are you doing on this show?
I'm pretty sure you have, but not remembered it, because like her movies for a period there were on USA Up All Night, And I know you watch those movies, and
Oh, yes,
you
I
lived
did.
on that channel. So I'm
Yes,
sure
I
you may
did.
not remember the name, but you must have seen a few of them.
All right, all right.
All right. So we'll reorient Aaron with the Cynthia Rothrock collection. Hanukkah's coming up.
8 nights.
The
8 nights.
Blu-ray.
You're Rothrock.
As an aside, Santo, that's about the gist of my contribution this week, but I'll hang it out and let you guys
I
chat.
was going to say, I actually have I have a couple films I want to throw your way because you brought up something, your unnamed number. I actually had found a film for you that I knew you would see.
Oh, fantastic.
And I will toss that your way. I don't think it's September. It may be September, but I'll toss that out in a minute here. I only have one film on my list for September, and that was because I was just jotting down titles, and I was only going to do a top 5. But the one for September, and then use these other ones as kind of what do you want to call them, runner-ups or consolation prize. Just toss these out there because they look interesting, and it's getting pretty fascinating reviews right now out of Toronto. And I'm going to get a lot of flack for this one, but Kevin Smith's Tusk is going to be coming out on September 19th.
I want to see it.
Yeah, it is a fascinating. Smith was going to retire and then has found a new life through his podcast by basically creating films through his storytelling on the podcast through articles and stories that he's been finding to discuss. And Tusk is based off of a story about a man who put up a want ad for a room for rent. The room for rent would be free, you would be fed for free, but you had to wear a walrus outfit and be fed raw fish once a week because he had this weird elaborate story about how he was lost in the Klondike or something like that, and his only friend was a walrus, blah, blah, blah. He has then parlayed that into a bizarre, almost Boxing Helena, Human Centipede horror story with Justin Long and Johnny Depp, the return of Hallie Joe Osment, sort of, and
Michael Parks.
That's right, yeah. Michael Parks apparently just blows the roof off of it with his performance in this one. And Michael Parks, of course, appeared in Smith's last movie, Red State. But Red State was a really fascinating turning point for Smith to kind of start delving into these very odd, non-traditional horror films, and Tusk is going to be something that continues that. So I don't know. I believe that it will be very bizarre, very awkward. It may not be 100% successful, but I really appreciate that he is actually, in a weird way, finally trying. Like, he's not putting out Jay and Bob stuff, however much I enjoy his oeuvre. But I'm really glad that he's actually kind of exploring different avenues and trying something different. So Tusk was one that was in there. Shu, I think it's September, though it may be early October. I'm going to go into this one. Left Behind is going to be coming out.
Kirk Cameron?
No. Ready for this? Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah.
What?
Nicolas Cage stars as an airplane pilot when the leaving behind takes place.
Son of a bitch! I'm totally changing my list.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Cynthia Rothrock is the president of the United States.
Yes.
So,
and the big mystery is whether she stays or whether
she's left. Yeah, if she's left or
The
not
twist is
left
she's
behind.
God.
Oh,
Really. So I don't know if there's any reason to explain it, Shu, but explain what the Left Behind series is. And you have seen many of the direct-to-video Left Behind movies, correct?
of course. You guys haven't? Wow, that's like what? You want me to break down the plot of Star Wars next? Have you guys seen anything? Gee. You basically just broke it down. There's the rapture happens, and there are a bunch of people who go and a bunch of people who are left behind, who sort of have to find their way toward,
The light.
not being left behind.
So
and that sounds like a perfect role for Nick Cage.
Wait, back up.
Right.
Hold on. This
Slow
is
down there, Joseph Conrad.
Yeah, come on. This is getting a little complicated here.
Oh my golly!
Don't get it.
Sorry,
Nicolas
so
Cage, I'm flipping in.
yeah.
Is that going to be in theaters? Is that going to be playing at the local art house?
I think it is getting a theatrical release. How big of one, I don't know.
Fantastic.
But I'm sure
well,
it's
there
going
has
to be
been
VOD.
something of a resurgence to some degree in the Christian-based.
Oh, there's been a huge resurgence, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's something that has some legs.
I'm sorry, hold on a second. Can I get a quick recap of exactly what people do who were left behind from the rapture, if not just like enjoy less traffic and have really cheap housing?
Well, those are certainly good things. Unfortunately, they don't recognize the positives and feel, kind of sad that they were left behind. And as a result of their sadness, they try to come to terms with why, in essence, they weren't invited to the party. And that kind of bugs them more than the realistic approach that you take, Dub, that I think would be very plausible and a nice take. If you were to do a Left Behind film with Nicolas Cage, I would hope that you would approach it in that way. I think it would be very good.
How do they know everybody went to heaven? Like, did they actually see them in heaven? How do they know everybody just wasn't like abducted by aliens? Like, they automatically just assume?
Yeah, it's automatic. Yeah, it's naturally assumed. Yes, poof, they're gone. Oh, it must be the rapture.
Must be in heaven.
Well, no, that makes sense. That makes sense, because then obviously there is a heaven, and you're obviously not getting into it with whatever short time you have left.
Well, but you might have a way to still work it out because of all the evil that's still taking place on Earth.
Sure. So I'd be in there. I'd be left behind, and I'd be thinking. So I learned my whole Haftorah portion for my bar mitzvah like for nothing. That was a complete waste of learning Hebrew at all. Was a complete waste of my time.
But do you not consider that a benefit?
No.
I guess I was well compensated. Now that I think about it.
You learned a valuable lesson, and that's what being left behind is all about.
Right.
All right. So Warren, go ahead. Give us something that's on your list. I don't want to get into the whole Left Behind thing too deep here.
So the movie, it's actually the movie. It'll be in October, but it's the movie that I'm most looking forward to, just from trailers alone. I really know what it's about, but for the rest of the fall, this is my -- movie.
I bet you it's my number 5.
Birdman.
Oh no, actually that's higher on my list.
Yeah.
Birdman looks fantastic.
Yes.
Everything about it looks awesome. It just looks like a dream, and it just like it's amazingly well done. And everything I've read about it and heard about it from people who've already seen it say it's amazing. So
yeah, and it does the fake single take thing all the way through the movie. Michael Keaton apparently is back in strong form.
Yeah.
Not Emma Watson? Emma. Oh my God, why can't I think of her name?
Stone.
Emma Stone.
Thank you, Emma Stone and Edward. Yes.
Ed Norton.
Ed Norton's in it.
Zach Galifianakis is in it.
That's right. Yeah, Zach Galifianakis is in it.
Yeah, no, it just looks like it'll be great. I mean, I hope I'm not building it up too much in my head, but I just feel like it'll be awesome.
Yeah, it's the filmmaker Alejandro González Iñárritu is
Babel, right?
Yeah, he did Babel. He did 21 Grams. His best film, though, unfortunately, is still his first, which was Amoros Perros, which is fantastic. And then he did another film called, I think, Beautiful, but it was spelled weird. And he's been kind of, I don't want to say he's been declining, but he's definitely been in a weird rocky space for a while. But apparently Birdman's going to really heal a lot of those wounds for people who felt that he had a lot more potential going on there. So what's it's your number 1 now?
Just based on trailers, just every time I see I've been watching the trailers and I'm like, and I know it's like everybody's like Michael Keaton's back, but everything I've seen him in recently or he's still good. Like I thought he's been like I don't think he ever stopped being good. I just don't feel like he was getting good parts. Everything he's been in, I've enjoyed him in. Like I think of things like The Other Guys, where he played the police captain.
Yes.
He was awesome in that movie. Every scene he was in that, he stole that. I just didn't see him in a whole lot of stuff, but I liked him in everything I saw.
Yeah, I think what happened with Michael Keaton, or the way people perceive Michael Keaton's career, is that he was a huge leading man in the 80s. He did some major films in the 80s, and then has kind of been relegated to character roles or a few indie films. I think he even directed an indie film where he played a hitman or something like that. I can't think of the title right now. But yeah, and I think people have always been. And he had a great bit in Jackie Brown and in Out of Sight, but that was a good decade ago.
Was the same guy?
Sorry, what was that last one, Warren?
Oh, I said he played the same. It was the same character in both.
Character. Yeah. But yeah, it's and he's never stopped being good. I think he's just been kind of. I don't know if he's been waiting to get old enough or whatever the deal is to kind of like bring him back into that thing of like that role. And it sounds like this is going to be a great role for him to play and something he can really sink his teeth into and actually like act again. So yeah, very cool.
on my list.
Yeah, Dub. Let's. What else you got going on here?
Because I'm moving into October now.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm really excited to see Nightcrawler.
That's actually my number 4.
Yeah, that looks great. It's like a Paul
Schrader.
Schrader. It's like a Paul Schrader movie.
It kind of has that feel to it.
Like
Yeah.
someone tried to make a modern day Taxi Driver or Light Sleeper or one of those sort of spend a night with a crazy person kind of movies.
Yeah. Well, that, and I think it looks like it's going to have a pretty wicked look at I don't want to say the paparazzi, but kind of tabloid media in a way, or the whole if it bleeds it leads kind of mindset that really kind of rules the airwaves and has ruled the airwaves for quite a long time, but seems even more prescient now.
Yeah, it's going to be it's the best portrayal of journalistic ethics since Network.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
But yeah, that's on my list. There was also Birdman was there. Men, Women, and Children. I'm concerned about. That's the Jason Reitman movie, and I feel like everything I'm reading about it makes it sound a little showy.
And it's and word coming out of Toronto is that it's not good.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, then that settles it. It was one of those movies that, and his movies kind of do this. They have to ride a line, and they can teeter off that line at any moment. And I know his movies would be insufferable on the other side of that line. It's like a Cameron Crowe thing. When Cameron Crowe is riding that line, his movies are extraordinary. When he teeters off that line, it's just unwatchably pretentious and it's just hateful. So, so maybe I'll skip Men, Women, and Children. Take that off the list. What does everyone think about St. Vincent?
I'm curious about it. I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal that people think, but
it's Bill Murray and Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's apparently the Bill Murray Oscar bait movie.
But doesn't he do this every year or two? I mean, the movies he's picked recently have been.
Yeah, but I don't think he's maudlin in this one, as you would say in like a Broken Flower or Broken Flowers or even a Rushmore or something like that. You know, I think he's back a more kind of spunky, not wacky per se, but definitely kind of a more the irresponsible Bill Murray.
Yeah, there was an allusion to W.C. Fields in one of the articles I read.
He doesn't seem like he looks like he could be not as likable as you like maybe that's the whole point. Like you're not always rooting for him as like you always do in Bill Murray movies.
Wow.
Yeah,
well, I don't know. We'll see how that movie is.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm very curious. That actually, I did not throw that down on my list, but it is something that I will. I mean, I will end up seeing it. Do it up.
Well, the other one I wanted to ask everyone about was Fury.
That was actually going to be. That's actually my number 5.
Okay, so you are excited about it.
I am now, and actually, so it is written and directed by David Ayers, who gave us. And I don't know now. Shu, did you see Sabotage yet?
Yeah, you and I talked about Sabotage on the FTP episode.
Did we? Okay, yeah. So I'm a huge fan of Sabotage because Sabotage is a really nasty fucking film. I mean, it's vicious. And Ayers is a really interesting writer-director, and that's right. And Shu and I were discussing him, and it was one of those things where I feel like he's on that verge of he's going to hit big at one point, and I'm wondering if Fury is going to be it. I like the idea. I don't know when the last time we've seen a story about a tank squad in World War II. It's been forever, and the trailers I'm really liking so far.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely on my list.
You know, I love Brad Pitt. Like, I mean, I'll admit that. Like, Superman. I think ever since 12 Monkeys, when he like made himself like from this hunky, sexiest man alive to like this kind of weird, creepy guy, I was like, okay, this is a guy who's actually taking this stuff seriously. I can respect that.
Great in 12 Monkeys.
Yeah, he was amazing in that movie, and you know, and I'm interested in Fury for to see him alone, although it's still sort of Inglourious Bastards Brad Pitt in some ways. But
yeah, and I've heard apparently it feels more that way in the trailer than it actually is in the film. Apparently, it's not. It's a very different character.
Except the trailer sort of the way they set up the trailer was like one tank against a Nazi armada or something like that. It was sort of like that sort of turned me off. I'm still curious to see it because it's got a lot of actors I like. I don't like Shia LaBeouf or whatever, but the other guys are cool. Michael Pena is awesome. I love that guy.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see it, but I'm not holding out hope for it.
Right.
Yeah, I'll have to wait. Much like men, women, and children, I'll have to wait for the people to start seeing it.
Yeah, that one to me, I think no matter what is a theater. Even if it's not great, I think it's worth seeing in the theater. Probably, my guess is at least the war scenes are going to be big and bombastic.
Too,
yeah,
but I'm kind of holding my breath on that one.
Do you remember Pena on The Shield?
I don't. No.
He played Army when they in the season 3 when they split the strike team up and Shane got his own partner. Trying to mentor him. He was the kid. He was the
Right. Yeah.
He's great.
Crazy.
I love Michael Pena. He's always underplayed.
Yeah, it also has, and I don't know the actor's name, but he was in The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
He was in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
He was in the noir show that.
He had his own show by what's his name? Yeah.
Yeah, by Frank Darabont that lasted however 6 episodes or whatever
I
it was.
watched one episode and bailed.
Yeah, it was kind of meh. I want to say it was called Dark City, but I know that's wrong. And
No, it's not Dark City. It was something City though.
They wanted to call it like L.A.
It was like
Noir.
Mob City. It was like Mob City.
Something like that, yeah. And it was a very film noir, Los Angeles post-war. He's a detective. So did you have any other October films listed there?
Birdman, St. Vincent. I wrote down The Book of Life. Just curious. That's that stop-motion Dias de los Muertos.
Oh, right, the one that's produced by Del Toro. And
Mob City, yeah, because it's produced by Del Toro.
Right.
And I'm curious about him, and I've got kids, but I'm afraid he's going to make it fucked up, and I'm not going to be able to bring my kids.
Yeah.
You know what? I do have.
It does look like a toss.
I do have from last month Box Trolls on there. I do want to see that.
Box Trolls actually is supposed to be quite solid. Yeah, I'm really curious.
I want to see it because I have kids, and I like you always good to have a good kid movie, and then I actually know the guy who produced that is the main producer on that movie. Actually, he's a friend, so I know that
nice.
guy. So he did Our Happy Tree.
So full disclosure, your vote doesn't count.
Right.
Yeah, my vote really doesn't count because I'm rooting for him anyway.
Right.
But it looks really good.
Cool. I have what other October? I've got a few other October films here. So Nightcrawler, of course, was already discussed. Gone Girl comes out October 3rd.
That's on my list.
Is it? Yeah, the new David Fincher flick. Yeah.
They could just call it David Fincher movie, and I'll go see it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Also, and I'm really of all the things, this is going to sound really odd. I'm really rooting for Ben Affleck in this movie because he's Affleck has never been top shelf actor. You know what I mean? Though he wants to, but he wants to be, and it's not from lack of trying. And Fincher is the type of guy who might possibly, after 95 takes, which is what Fincher does, find that sweet spot somewhere. And I think if both of them worked together well, we may actually kind of see a Ben Affleck in a weird way that's slightly different than where he's been. And Affleck as a director is aces. The guy's a very solid filmmaker, so he has he'll always have that respect. But
he was good in that Superman movie, the one where he was the guy.
Yes. Yeah, the Hollywoodland, is that what it was?
I think that was probably his best acting.
Where he was George Reeves, yeah. Yeah, agreed. And that was this very small little film that he and
Val
he
Kilmer in that?
What?
Who?
Val Kilmer, was he in that?
You're thinking of Wonderland.
I am thinking Wonderland. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, right. Oh, right. Yes, you're thinking about John Holmes and his large penis versus.
I do have another movie that actually goes back to September, but I want to bring it up. It's called, and it actually comes out this week. I just looked it up. It's called Revenge of the Green Dragons.
I don't know this one.
It's directed by Andrew Lau.
Oh, yeah.
Infernal Affairs guy. So, and it's produced by Martin Scorsese. So
right.
I feel like he gave him he's like, hey, you gave me my Academy Award movie that I copied from you almost scene by scene. And I think I'll produce your next movie here in America. But I'm interested to see what that looks like because I love the Infernal Affairs movies.
Doesn't it take place in New York as well?
Yeah, it takes place in New York and in the 80s it's based on a true story of human trafficking and stuff like that.
Interesting. Yeah, I had totally forgotten about that. That's a really solid choice, and that's coming out this week.
It said September 11th, so Thursday, I guess.
Nice. All right. Cool. We'll check this out. So Gone Girl, Fury, Nightcrawler. Oh, and the one that wasn't mentioned was Whiplash with Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. And it was at Sundance this past year and got rave reviews. It's playing at up at Toronto right now. And Miles Teller wants to be a jazz drummer at a music school. And J.K. Simmons is basically the mean, vicious coach teacher.
The great Santini of drum teachers.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. That's basically what it sounds like.
That's what I thought when I saw it in the trailer.
Yeah, and I guess they had to cut out all of his cussing and insults and stuff like that in the trailer, so it really apparently kind of truncates the bit. But yeah, it's Miles Teller. If you've not seen The Spectacular Now, it's a good movie, but Miles Teller is mind-blowingly good in it. This guy is a fucking talent, and it will be great to see what happens with him as time goes on. And apparently he does all his own drumming, and it just seems like it's awkward to say that a movie about a music school would be visceral, but this has that feeling. This has that feeling to me about it.
Yeah, The Spectacular Now. I didn't see the whole thing. I saw scenes from that movie, and those kids were incredible.
Yeah. He and Shailene Woodley in it were really fantastic, and he's also in the what are the Divergent movies as well. He's got like a small role in those as well. But yeah, Miles Teller is truly an actor to kind of watch because the cat's got skills. So Whiplash is coming out, I believe, October 10th. Also, Birdman, October 17th. Fury, October 17th. Gone Girl, October 3rd, just for those who are paying attention. And in 8 months from now, if you're watching this, it's not going to matter. Yeah, it's all going to be in the show notes that don't exist. Show notes. So let's move on to November. Dub, start listing some stuff off that you got for your November list here.
The big three in November, certainly Big Hero 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just doing this chronologically. But I would say the big three for me in November, Big Hero 6, Interstellar, and Foxcatcher.
All right. Anybody have any of those?
What's Foxcatcher? I mean, those other two were on my list for sure.
Yeah.
Foxcatcher is the true life story of the DuPont wrestling team.
Yeah. No, I don't know if I want to see that.
Have you seen the trailer?
Not that it's bad. It would just make. Oh yeah, exactly. I just feel like I'd be again great Santini of wrestling movies.
Yes, you begin the Santini theme.
Let's back this up. The Great Santini is a movie that made me very uncomfortable from beginning to end. So, I don't know if I could see Whiplash or Fox. Either of those would be like I wouldn't enjoy it. I'd be sweating the whole time.
For the record, our father is a very kind person.
That's why Great Santini was like, there's people out there that are like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can assure you that Warren and Aaron were raised by two lovely parents.
There's very little Santini-ish.
I do not. Yeah, I do.
No, Steve Carell looks amazing in that.
As does his fake nose. Yeah.
And yeah, exactly, his fake nose. It's a supporting actor.
and it's directed by Bennett Miller, who gave us Moneyball and Capote.
Yeah.
So it's being put out by Annapurna Pictures, which is basically. God, I want to say Annapurna is running a pretty flawless record so far as movies that they've made. They made So fingers. I didn't. Oh, sorry. Such as her, the Zero Dark 30, American Hustle.
American Hustle.
I'm trying to think. If you actually look up Annapurna Pictures, it's like they're
looking them up now. So who is this? Who's in?
Annapurna Pictures is oh my God, the daughter of
Daughter
this
of
is horrible. I can't think of her name. Megan Ellison, who is the daughter of
Ralph Ellison.
Blah Ellison, who runs a gigantic, huge tech company. Anyways, her and her brother, of course, were raised and given tons of money, and she decided that she basically wanted to create a movie company that deals strictly with filmmakers who have vision. The Master and I believe Inherent Vice are also being put out by Annapurna. You got the list there in front of you? True Grit, right?
List, so, Killing Them Softly, The Master, Spring Breakers. Yeah. So they worked with
Harmony Korine.
Thank you.
Yep.
Got the Grandmaster, her.
Yeah. So again, they want to work with filmmakers who have stories to tell, and so she's very committed to. Although, and this is very interesting, she's moving into they're moving into real commercial filmmaking with the Terminator reboot. So we'll see how they do. We'll see how they do there. That's really kind of fascinating.
And they spelled Genesis wrong. Just for the record, it's Terminator Genisys.
Yeah, that's a huge joke that's been going around the internet recently. Genesis. But yeah, it's like a weird. I mean, Annapurna it's like if you see that Annapurna stamp on it, it's like Miramax during the '90s. You're like, okay, there may be something really special.
Like Castle Rock during the '90s.
'90s, yeah. There was that real fingers crossed that you might actually be being something really great there. So.
All right, so that's Foxcatcher. Yay.
That's Foxcatcher. Yeah.
That's something on the list.
Yeah. So Interstellar. Let's hear what people have to say about Interstellar. Anybody?
I can chime in, but I've talked a lot.
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Secret movie. It's like one of those things.
Hasn't that guy just bought enough goodwill at this point?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw a Christopher Nolan movie that I didn't like. Well, Dark Knight Rises was okay.
Yeah, but it was still better than Insomnia, so the guy's trending in the right direction.
Yeah, he's going in the right direction. What's it called? His non-Batman movies are pretty great for the most part.
Yeah.
Inception. I mean, come on, that movie was awesome.
Yeah, and I'm all behind the Prestige. I'm 100%.
Yeah, Prestige is awesome too. Yeah.
So, wait.
Yeah, there goes. There, you watch it, but you've only seen it once, so you can't.
Yeah, I need to see it again.
Yeah, I'll convince you about it later.
I'll do a double feature with that and Mad Max.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like a list now of things. Okay, we're gonna convince.
I've got to sit. Yeah, it'll be like a weird intervention where I just sit across from at a table and go.
I feel like a Clockwork Orange with his eyes held open.
How Aaron's hatred of Mad Max has affected our lives.
Yeah.
And then you'll be spinning a top to see if it ever falls down.
Exactly. So yeah, a couple other films in November that I wrote down that I wanted to check out. The Imitation Game with Benedict Cumberbatch, where he plays Alan Turing. Alan Turing, for those who don't know, basically broke the Enigma code in World War II and basically kind of in a weird way helped win World War II because of that. He was a scientist mathematician who worked
he invented the computer, essentially.
He basically kind of helped invent the computer in a weird way. He worked at Bletchley Square, or Bletchley Circle, excuse me, who were all the folks that were working on breaking German codes during World War II. But he was also a homosexual and was, after the war, imprisoned and basically, he commits suicide, I believe.
I think he did.
I think that's what the story was, yeah. So this is about that era of his existence. As a matter of fact, it was only in 2010 that the British government finally pardoned him. He basically apologized for what they had done to him and how and his life. They basically destroyed him again. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I believe over there it's called a very sorry old chap, and they move on with their
lives. Thanks for winning the war and saving millions of lives.
Yeah. So Benedict Cumberbatch apparently gives a fantastic performance in that one. So I'm really kind of curious about that one as well. What I'm hearing.
That's actually, it's funny because that was one I didn't put on the list, and I didn't put Kill the Messenger on the list, which is earlier in the fall for kind of the same reasons, which is I know how these end, and it's so depressing.
Right. You know which one I did? You know what I didn't put on my list, and we already missed it as well. Was and I believe it's late September that it's coming out, maybe early October. It's the Dennis Lehane story that he wrote the screenplay for, and it is Tom Hardy and James Gandolfini in his final movie. The Draw. Yes, thank you. The trailers for that look really fantastic.
Yeah.
So and you have two great actors, and this being the final Gandolfini role that we're ever going to see on screen, it's got a lot of baggage, I guess, that way. But apparently it's a very solid movie. So, and it's that great little kind of tiny crime film, very Bob Mitchum Boston robbery movie. Yeah. Shu. Stop looking at me that way, Shu. I know you know what I'm talking about. Friends of Eddie Coyle.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
It has a very kind of Friends of Eddie Coyle kind of feel going on with it. Anyway, so back to November. It's getting I don't want to say it's getting bad reviews. It's not getting great reviews. People are feeling very mixed on this one. Jon Stewart's directorial debut, Rosewater, comes out November 7th.
Oh my God! I didn't even see that on the list. That's definitely on my list.
Yeah, that to me is what I'm most fascinated about this movie is it's based on a true story, based on the imprisonment of a Iranian journalist. Iranian.
Persian.
And it's interesting because it's about his imprisonment for like 193 days or some wacky sense of time, and this Stewart is not a man who wants to be a filmmaker. You know, he made this movie out of passion, and I feel probably a little bit of guilt because some of the part of what the imprisonment took place for was because of a comedy bit that this journalist did on the Daily Show that they actually used against him. So it stars Gail Garcia Bernal, who's, as we know, is a great actor, and so it looks like, I mean, I don't know how heavy it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be completely 100% successful, but it's a movie I think that's worth supporting. And it
looks like I expect it to be hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like from the trailer, it was reminding me of. It was reminding me a little bit of some of the sentiments, just gauging from the trailer, and I don't know if they crafted this because it's Jon Stewart or if it's baked into the film itself, but the idea that levity and his sense of humor is part of what kept him through.
Right.
And I kept thinking of Sullivan's Travels.
Sure.
Where it's this movie that sort of comes down on the side of being very supportive of what a good chuckle can do for you, even in the most trying of times.
It's just like that, minus the torture in a prison. Yeah.
Well, there's some. No, you're right.
Yeah, I was gonna say the prison that he was in Sullivan's Travels was a lot less lighter, I believe.
It was more of a socially constructed prison. It wasn't a real prison. Yeah. This is much more of a real prison.
No. He goes to jail in Sullivan's Travels. He actually is in jail in Sullivan's Travels.
That's right.
Yeah. But I swear, it's the most kind of hangout jail possibly kind of thing. It's like, hey, let's go to the movies tonight. Yeah, okay, let's do that.
He basically gets sent to a very restrictive camp.
Yeah. It's lights out at 10. Oh, this country.
Arts and crafts are only 30 minutes.
Yeah. So there's stuff we're missing here that I would like to talk about, but I'm not sure what else is on there. So let's move on then to December. I only have one movie for December, even though I know that's when all kind of the big stuff is coming out. So so go ahead and lay down the list there for December, Dub.
Well, I want to know what your one movie is.
Oh, my one movie is Inherent Vice.
Yep, that's top of my list too.
Yeah, it's and that was my number one. That's my number one for this year. I'm really anytime Paul Thomas Anderson, it's that David Fincher effect. As soon as I hear his name, I'm really fascinated to find out what he's going to do next. I don't know is this the first translation of a Thomas Pynchon novel to the screen? I think it is.
I believe so. And if anyone was pretentious enough to take that on, you better believe it was Paul Thomas Anderson.
Though it sounds like it's one of his more accessible books as well. But it's
filmmakers think as highly of themselves
as the
Paul
PTA.
Thomas Anderson does.
Yeah.
And I got to give him credit. He's followed through.
Yeah. He hasn't. Yeah, he has not faltered that much.
But this is interesting. If we look at the last few months, there's several directors coming out with movies that we describe as can't miss simply because of the artists themselves.
Such as?
Christopher Nolan.
Okay.
I didn't say can't miss. I just said I have high hopes for it.
Oh, I see. You're just talking about in...
Paul Thomas Anderson, David Fincher.
David Fincher, right.
You know, these are filmmakers where no matter what they do, we'll go see it.
Right.
Well, to a point. Like, if they lose, they could lose us. I mean, they're...
So far. I'm just saying right now.
Yeah, right now, sure.
Yeah, I think...
So Inherent Vice is definitely top of my list for December.
Actually, I'll tell you what. Before we do that, sorry, Warren. Is there anything you've got written down that we've missed yet?
Well, he said Inherent Vice, and then I have one movie left that's for December that I want to see, The Hobbit.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Is there anything on your list that we haven't discussed at all?
No, that was it.
You got it. Okay.
Been mentioned.
So, all right, then I have to ask, why The Hobbit?
It's really more because I didn't like the second one. Um, I enjoyed the first one, I guess, and I've talked to other friends about this. I really enjoyed that world from the first Lord of the Rings trilogy. And to see it again, I think he makes the world, and it looks really good. And I enjoy being there, just sitting there watching it happen. Now, whether I'm really enjoying, the dialogue or what's going on, the world that he's created is something that to be there for 2.5 hours, I can sit through that, and even if it's stupid at some points, like they're in a river and people are jumping over each other, and it's like a roller coaster rather than an escape.
Right.
I can enjoy that. So, and I think I think this last part of in the Hobbit itself, the Battle of the Five Armies was really a really cool part, and a lot of stuff kind of happens emotionally. Maybe he kind of gets this train back on the rails a little bit, hopefully. Maybe not, but I'm still really curious to see it, and it's one of those movies you kind of have to see on the big screen anyway.
Unfortunately, that's very true. Yeah.
So
that's how they get you.
That's why I pick it. I mean, it's really a lot of leftover love from the first trilogy.
Right. Yeah.
Pulling me through this second trilogy.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate to say it. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I will do it. Odds are I will at some point because scientist Steph will say.
Of course you will.
You will
go. You will go. You have to.
Yeah, well, probably. And you're right because it is the only place truly to see them is on the big screen. It's like watching them on video for the first time is kind of like I just got to play catch up. I just have to see it so I can say I've seen it and understand if somebody's talking about it, what's going on. Yeah. It's almost like in a weird way, it's almost like a Cliff Notes version, I guess, if you're not seeing something like that on the big screen.
Yeah, and you miss half the cool. I mean, half of it is the visualization of the world that he's created.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was a definite improvement between the first film and the second film, especially with the high frame rate shtick. But we'll see. Dub, go ahead. Give us what remaining films do you have there?
Well, I wrote a couple down that I'm not that excited about. Mr. Turner, it gave great trailer, but I don't know if I'm going to see it.
Yeah, I like most things by Mike Leigh. Mike Leigh for me is another one of those can't miss kind of directors. So,
but he's not. He doesn't always bring me to the theater.
No, yeah, and that's the thing is Mike Leigh is a very intimate filmmaker in an odd way. So he is one of those guys that you can watch on video.
And on par with that would be Into the Woods. I'm kind of curious to see it.
Interesting.
I like the musical, which is not a sentence I say very frequently.
No, it's not.
And I'd be curious to see it made into cinema. It's a play filled with spectacle that is always kind of stupid in play form because you're on a stupid stage. But if you opened all that up, it just might be more exciting.
Is Anna Kendrick in that? Is she she's the lead, right? Okay. Yeah. That'll make it worth it for me if I have to sit through it.
Yeah, right. It won't.
I almost put that on my list. I almost did, but then I was like, man, do I really want to see it? Like, I might end up seeing it, but it's not like I'm not gunning for it.
Right.
And I bet it'll go quicker in a movie because I've seen the play a couple of times and it sort of drags in the second half. I bet it goes quicker as a movie.
And I'm sure it lacks wolf penis.
Yeah. Well, maybe not. That's the director's cut. Also, I have Big Eyes on here. Do you know what that is?
The Tim Burton film. That's kind of interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I think it sounds really interesting. And I really like that it's got a very sort of inherently emotionally fraught plot line to it. Are you guys familiar with it?
I'm not really.
I was just reading about it today. It's an artist. It's sort of based on a true story. It's an artist whose work you'd kind of be familiar with. He draws really big eyes on things, hence the name. And he gets really world famous for it, and it turns out his wife had done all the paintings. And
he's the one making her do, like, he's continually pressuring her to keep it up, etc.
Yeah, so but it's, do you know who's writing it? Is the guys
that did Ed Wood.
Ed Wood and People vs. Larry Flint and Man on the Moon.
Yep.
And they did these, great sort of wacky, I almost want to call them wacky ensemble movies. Because that's kind of how I felt about it. As, even though they have very specific people's names in the title, they're always about this sort of odd. Go on.
No, sorry. They are masters of the niche biopic.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Well, but they're always about these weird cobbled together family units.
Yeah.
and that's what is so interesting about them. And I think I'm just waiting for Tim Burton to find the right script to actually bring out the humanity in his storytelling, which I always find is completely lacking. Like his ear for emotion is always just so tin in so many of his movies, where it's like, what? Why are they reacting that way? Why are they saying that now?
Tim. It's funny that you talk about Tim Burton, because like we were talking about, Christopher Nolan bringing us out, or these other directors. He's kind of the opposite, where I'm like kind of pushed away by Tim Burton. It's like, oh, it's a Tim Burton movie.
Well, that's why I'm so conflicted about this one, is because I'm hoping the writers can elevate his usual style, and I like the idea of the storyline. Maybe something about it being based more in truth would, I don't know. I remember a review I read once of Fargo that said that by claiming it was based on a true story, it forced the Coen brothers to rein in their general madness.
Interesting.
And I'm wondering if that will do it with Burton too. Like, if he can't have, crazy sets of the netherworld or whatever he wants to fill his movies with, how does he move the camera?
Right.
How does he capture the performance? Like, it seems like a lot of his tools are going to be taken away from him.
I find it really funny because, I mean, wasn't there a time when Tim Burton would get us to the theater?
Absolutely,
100%. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it was after Sleepy Hollow where I was done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sleepy Hollow was so stupid.
Yeah, I actually give him a credit for. And this is funny. I know that Aaron hates Big Fish. I still have not seen.
Oh no,
Big
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
No? Oh, okay.
No, it's bland, if anything. Like,
gotcha. Yeah.
Bland.
I've heard good things about Big Fish, but I've yet to watch it. But Sweeney Todd, actually, minus some not great singing by some people, I think that was a movie because it's something that already pre-existed. It already had, it was a script that had been a musical that had been already, pre-worked and
you have to craft the emotion.
Exactly, and so all they had to do was take that, move it into Tim Burton's world, which of course that story worked perfectly within his storytelling style.
I think I enjoyed. That was the only Tim Burton. I mean, I'm looking at his list. I think maybe he lost me at Mars Attacks.
Yeah, I might say Mars Attacks was definitely the beginning of the end for him and me.
And then Planet of the Apes, I was completely cut off.
What?
That was it. Planet of the Apes gone.
Oh yeah. Oh my, that might have been the real breaking.
Yeah.
Point.
And that's actually, I think, W and I actually got together to see that.
Yeah.
At the theater, and that was a real, even the condition I was in, it was a horrible movie.
You're just like angry at the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even the special effects were bad. I remember they had the guys running on treadmills. It was just so weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it had issues.
Yeah, and then but actually it's funny because the Tim Burton movie is kind of like the way Warren describes Lord of the Rings, which is I just like being in the world.
Right.
Like as much as I'll badmouth him as a storyteller or as someone who can tease out the emotional realities of the story he's telling. He's like one of the best set designers we have working today, kind of thing. Like I love being in Tim Burton land.
Yeah,
it's so much fun.
Understandable.
I have the interview down here too. I just want to throw that out there. The James Franco Seth Rogen comedy.
I will probably go see the interview. Yes, I will definitely.
Yes, I will certainly see the interview. I may stop in the parking lot before I go in. I'm excited to see that movie. I really enjoyed Pineapple Express.
Yeah, I'm very meh on the interview. I have to admit it, even though it's funny.
The end too.
Yes, and I liked it, and it's funny because I liked this at the end. I really liked Neighbors.
I didn't see Neighbors. Yeah, I wanted.
Yeah, so it's not like I'm Seth Rogen is on my shit list or anything like that. This is just one of those films to me where it feels like it's too. Hey guys, I've got a great idea, and then they just rip out a script really quick.
At the end, like I thought, oh my god.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I'm sure they all start that way, but then they sober up. They've all got offices, and then they go to the office and they're like, all right, we got to make this work now.
We pitched it. They bought it. We have to actually write a script.
Right. We may have pitched this to one another high, but now we got to follow through with the pinky swear we made. Turn this into an actual movie.
We cashed the check already.
Right.
Can't give them back their fee. Yeah, it's yeah. So I'm very
I want your Seth Rogen impression to be my ringtone when you call me.
That's the worst thing ever. That's good, dude. I like that one.
You got that laugh where it's just like, where you're like, really? Is that your laugh?
Yeah, it's great because it's something I'm sure that he can fake easily. So if there's something that's not funny that he's supposed to laugh at to get the green light, he can do it. So I guess that's basically our fall preview stuff that we're looking forward to this season. We're not having a show this Friday. We are actually going to be moving just back to the single Tuesday show now that I'm back to a normal schedule in life. So Shu will be giving us our movie of the week for next week. We're basically kind of creating the format. We're moving the format now. Each week, somebody's going to be in charge of choosing a movie or a filmmaker or an actor or something to be discussed for the next week. So it's still going to be a bit of a mishmash, but it's going to be a much more specified mishmash of stuff. So, but to round out our first round of movie reviews, Shu is picking the film for next Tuesday. So, Shu, lay it on us.
Jack Lemmon and Cynthia Rothrock star in a black and white classic from the 60s. You might know it as The Apartment. Last time I looked, it was streamable on Netflix, so we'll give The Apartment a look.
So, wow, we should probably double check and make sure that's still streaming because I don't know when the last time we looked at Netflix was. But yeah, a good choice. I've only seen the film once. Anybody else is kind of multiple views or?
Yeah, no, I just saw it once. Everybody has to see it once if you're friends with John Smith.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if I've seen it. I feel like I've seen it, but I don't know if I've seen it. Sorry, John.
Yeah. Yeah, it is considered a classic. It is considered one of Billy Wilder's greatest movies, one of Jack Lemmon's greatest movies. It is the film that gave us Shirley MacLaine. I'm
still looking for the positives here.
Yeah, so wow. So I'm glad you picked it. Why? So actually, you know what? Really quick, even though we're going to say it again next week, what made you decide? Because there's actually interesting reasoning. Tell me the reason that you tell us the reason that you told the same reason you told me as to why you picked this movie.
Wow, I'm going to remember that. I don't. What did I say? I don't remember.
Okay, fine.
I like it. I think Lemon's in a simple cinematic take on it. I think Lemon's excellent in it.
Yeah.
As far as maybe the format of what we're doing here is concerned, I wouldn't mind perhaps branching and expanding a little bit more because, I think sometimes we have this tendency to fall in love with kind of our geek component films that land in, the 80s and the 90s, and some 70s stuff that we have, and there's a lot of sci-fi geeky stuff in there, so I wouldn't mind, expanding beyond that from time to time.
That's right. You want to expand the palette, which I appreciate. So thank you for that one. So okay,
especially with Cynthia Rothrock.
Yeah. Well, so basically,
I'd like to expand her palette, if you know what I mean.
Wow.
I don't know what palette means.
Yeah. So what we've learned.
Uvula.
What we've learned is that we need to get Dub the Cynthia Rothrock box set and pray that The Great Santini comes out on Blu-ray so we can make Warren watch it again. I was going to say, I don't know if, because Great Santini was one of those that played pretty regularly on HBO or Showtime back when I was a kid.
Yeah, it did.
So, I have not seen it since.
Google image search.
Great, so now he's got...
Yeah, this could work.
There's some palette potential there.
Mm-hmm. All right, we need to wrap this up.
Okay, well,
Stuff has other things to do.
Yeah, apparently so. So Dub, where can people find you after the next 10 minutes?
They can find me at Film Geek Dub in 3 minutes. I can say that dude in 3 minutes.
10 minutes.
Guy's a monster.
I'd be exhausted. 5 times.
Practice.
It's all about the breathing.
I'm what Malcolm Gladwell would call one of those 10,000 hours experts.
Yeah, he reaches his tipping point after 3 minutes, if you know what I mean. Oh my God.
Something outliers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm going to blow my outliers all over the ceiling. If you know what I mean.
Blink! That's the one we should have gone with.
Right. Oh well. That's okay. We'll figure it. We'll work on our road show of Malcolm Gladwell.
Gladwellian humor.
Yeah. So, all right, Shu, where can people find you?
Why don't we, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, who the hell cares? Shuniverse will be fine. SCH Universe, that'll do just fine, where I might be pimping 25-cent energy drinks. I need something after a flooded drive through the Arizona and Nevada desert where half the damn 2 states are rained out.
I am very impressed, actually. How long did the drive take you, by the way?
Today it wasn't too bad, but it was a bad storm. Phoenix got more rain yesterday than at any day in recorded history. Tucson got flooded in a lot of spots, and portions of I-15 about 30 miles north of Vegas are shut down for most of the next week.
Wow.
The storm pounded portions of the Southwest. Yeah.
And welcome to California, where we're in the middle of a giant drought.
Woohoo! Yeah!
We'll soon be coming to Arizona to drink.
We got just enough rain from that hurricane that's like 1,000 miles away to leave little drop marks in the dust around my car.
Oh boy, everything's gone a serious 180. If we're having conversation, because that's the hurricane that slammed us, okay? Yeah. If we're having conversations about Arizona getting drubbed and California being dry, the 180 has taken hold. I think the next step is that Nicolas Cage will tell us exactly who has been left behind.
Dun, dun, dun.
We may have to do a live stream of Shu watching that, just out of curiosity. I want to watch him clap with glee. Yeah. So, Warren, where can people find you?
At Warren Graff.
All right, and you can find me at John Santo. 1 week from today, we will be discussing the Billy Wilder IAL Diamond, Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine, Fred McMurray classic. Man. The Apartment. So we'll see you next week, folks. Have a good one.